Hello, internet neighbors. It is the Prospiracy Theorist, Iggy Wadadwa, Michael Harvey, whatever. Here talking to you again. I just want to say hello, especially to my son, Lucas, and get started here with a prayer. Good will conquer evil, love will conquer hate. Manas, in Lakesh, Namaste, Ubuntu, love. A little love goes a really long way. So this slide is about new language, and I didn't use the word vocabulary on purpose. I want to eventually switch the whole language. Like Benjamin Franklin had a phonetic English that he used to write people to, and I think we should adopt that, and we should call it American. And then we can literally tell British people, you need to speak American. um, I really, really would love to do that. I would really love to go to London and talk shit like that. But anyhow, so I my new language words. The first one I want to discuss is liberationment. I don't like government. I hope you don't either. But I don't want to be governed, and I don't want to govern anybody. I got this whole bloodless rebellion idea, and when the rebellion's over, I want us all to be equals. I don't want to rule you. So yeah, I want to change that word. I don't even want to use the word government anymore. I want to disband the whole government and create a new liberation in its place. So and get us to Dr. Martin Luther King's promised land instead of Hitler's, which is what I think the Democrats and Republicans are leading us towards. So and I want us to all find our purpose. That's the liberation. I want us to be liberated into our purpose that the Creator created us for. Um, and I'm going to tell you a little story about a kid named Andrew Thomas. He lived into his 20s, even though he had, I believe, MS, some debilitating ailment to where he never spoke or even wiped his own butt. Lived 20 some years and never had control of his own bodily functions or speech. But the first time I met him, my buddy, his older brother, Matthew, took me to his house, and Andrew was sitting there, and he started screaming when I walked into the house and would not stop no matter what until I gave him a hug. He put his arms up when I walked in and kept screaming and holding him up until I hugged him. And when I hugged him, I started crying. And I went to the bathroom. I don't know if anybody saw it or not, but I started crying. And that hug changed my life. That hug turned me from a bully into a guardian. And that's what I think I was put on here to do. I think God created me to be a guardian. And I think God created you for something similar. So, leading into that, I want a vase, not a melting pot. I don't like the melting pot. I think it sucks. And I want to replace it with a vase because I think we are all beautiful flowers, not rocks. Okay? Just what I believe. You feel free to believe however you want. But that's how I believe, and that's the future I want. And I'm willing to fight for it. So, with love. I'm going to fight with my words. Hopefully, that's all I have to fight with. And my pennies. I fight with my pennies too. But anyhow, next word, human. So, this human word just adds an E and separates it, the regular human word we have. And all it's trying to do is encourage people to really see color and to ask questions about it. That's all. And then paralleling and soul paralleling, that's just a way to replace a parasitic culture with a more symbiotic one. And then soul paralleling is trying to do that with another soul so that neither one of you becomes a master or a slave and that you're both liberated and free. So, and then collaboracy is what I want us to get to, where nobody is governed and we're all choosing to collaborate together to colonize the moon. And actually, I want to get rid of that. I got to think up a new word for colonization, because that comes from Christopher Cologne, the murdering, raping minion of the Pope. And no, I don't want to use that word. But I haven't come up with a new one yet, so I'm gonna work on that. But anyhow, I want a collaboracy instead of democracy. A collaboracy, democracy sounds too demonic to me. I like collaboracy because it sounds like we're collaborating and working together. It just feels more correct. Peace key. That's someone trying to imitate Jesus, Merlin, whoever your guy, girl, or whatever is that's trying to unlock a better future, where we've turned our weaponry into livingry. That's actually a quote from Buckminster Fuller. Not the whole thing, but the weaponry into livingry part. And then conspiracy theorist, that's what I went with instead of peace key, because I was trying to be more secular or whatever, but it's essentially like trying to unlock a better future and come up with solutions and ideas to make that happen. That's essentially what both of those are. It's just different ways of phrasing it. And then Adamoda or Omo. It's my new word for God. I don't really use it that much, but I came up with it. And I think it's just a way to say that God is the hydrogen atom or the building block of the multiverse. That's just my personal opinion. From my study of what I've been able to read on science and from my experience in my 40 plus years and all that, like, that's like, when I get to talk to Lucas, like, hopefully by then I'll be able to use that word more than God. And I got to start using that, but I'm just getting started. Anyhow, next, heritage, large, garage, and transiage. And these would be words that just differentiate matrimony. So if a man marries a woman, that'd be marriage still. If a woman marries a woman, that'd be larriage, or she larries another woman. A guy would be harries another man, or harriage. And transiage would be like transiage X, where like the X is more info. So like if two furries, like people who dress up in like costumes or whatever, that may or may not identify themselves as not even human. Like I was watching the movie the series Daybreak last night, and it was talking about the one guy identifying himself as a seahorse. And you know what? You're not hurting anybody if you identify yourself as a seahorse. Go ahead, identify yourself as a seahorse. I don't care. I care more about Nestle and the government and GM and the government in Michigan, like working to poison the water in Flint. That stuff ticks me off. Not like what somebody is doing in the privacy of their own bedroom with another consenting adult. Their consenting adult. So anyhow, like, can we just please have some fun with this stuff instead of being so goddamn puritanical about stuff? Like, really? Like, what business is it of yours what other people do? So, I mean, in their bedrooms. Whatever. Going on. Earth. So, I think a lot of that comes from wanting to control what goes on in people's bedrooms. I think that comes from the patriarchy. Or the matriarchy trying to replace the patriarchy. I don't know. I just know that trying to control people's sex drives and how they express themselves sexually is like a form of enslavement. That's how I feel about it. And until everybody's free, nobody's free in my book. That's how I feel about that. So, I want to destroy the patriarchy, but I also don't want a matriarchy to take its place. So the word I came up with to try and make sure that that does not happen is a earther, because we're not all men, but we do all live on Earth. So that word would unite us, hopefully. And then earther kind is the same kind of thing. And then I wouldn't mind adding Q to the front of it, but I think that's a little bit too much to start with. So that's my list for now of new languages. If you think of a word for, what was that? that I said I didn't want to use in here. I might have to watch it again, but whatever. If you think of a word for that word, go ahead, post it in the comments. And I'm doing my best here, folks. I think I'm gonna take a little break here, and have a good one. And I don't remember if I prayed or not for this video, so I'm just gonna pray again. So, good will conquer evil, love will conquer hate. Manas, in Lakesh, Namaste, Ubuntu, love. A little love goes a really long way.